Good afternoon, everyone. This is Steve from Kakapo Systems, and thanks for joining this presentation. As you can see, today we're going to be building an email queue in 2 minutes. Let's get started. So firstly, what are we going to cover? Let's start with just recapping exactly what an email queue is. So an email queue with us is part of our contact center solution. We call these media streams, different types of omni-channel offerings that you can have. We have email, which we're looking at today, web chat. Those two are the most deployed that we're seeing out in the market today. And we've also got callbacks and we've got Twitter queues as well. So that's, at the moment, those four comprise the Unity Contact Center offering. I think the important thing to say is that this actually dovetails 100% with your BroadSoft solution. So it's using the same Unity apps. It's using all of the existing BroadSoft logins. It's the same BroadSoft users. So we're exposing all of that BroadSoft functionality. So it's a universal solution for the customer. Okay, so it's building on top of the existing platform you already have. So email queues, building an email queue in 2 minutes. Why is this important? It's important because it's been designed for the SMB. The Unity Contact Center is designed for that sort of big market. I think it's a typical BroadSoft type profile of customer. They don't want to pay $150 or £150 a seat. There's a big market there, 10, 20, 30 agents. I think those type of customers, that profile of customer, they don't have a huge IT support in-house. It's really important to be able to spin the service up quickly, reliably, pretty much on the fly, and for them to have a lot of granular control about actually putting the solution together. And so with that, today I'm going to be doing this in the Unity portal, logged in actually as an end-user customer. So when you see us building this, it's all of the same capabilities the user now has that your customer support teams have. So we're sort of trying to lower that service footprint for you guys and obviously make it easy for the customers to spin up the service themselves. The email queues themselves, hopefully we're going to show you that this is really easy to put together. We support any IMAP platform. So straight away we're connecting to Office 365 Exchange, all of those platforms really quickly. I think it's also worth saying, just in a number of calls and demos and things I've been involved with, a lot of the other email platforms out there in the market that are doing some of this, typically they're standalone. So a customer will have a standalone email routing system. Maybe it's one of the ticketing systems or a CRM or whatever it is. So sometimes customers are saying, oh, we need the Unity solution to integrate with that. We don't. It's likely that they're using IMAP in the same way we are. So we're connecting to, of course, the mail server itself. And we're going to show you all of that because we're going to be starting fresh in just a minute. The last thing to say is that this is it's 100% cloud. So it means there's, as you understand, because you're running cloud services yourself, there's no limits, there's no bottlenecks, there's nothing for you to deploy or the customer to deploy. It's all running from our contact center, which is part of our Unity Cloud. So it's also worth saying that the authentication with the mail server is done from our cloud, but there's actually no SMTP or anything coming down to the Unity clients themselves. When the message is picked up by the Unity Contact Center, I say the message, the email is picked up, that's then routed to the next available agent, depending on what algorithms and everything you're running. That's using our proprietary encrypted protocol. So it's not pushing the actual emails itself to the local Unity client. So there's no email authentication details in there. Right, with that, let's just have a look. 2 minute setup. We're going to show you all of this stuff live, and we're going to build it from scratch, from the ground up. And then we're going to do a live demo. We're going to send some emails in and see if it all works. So as with the other Unity Contact Center capabilities, we've got CRM integration and all that kind of stuff. So that's also going to be part of this demo. Reserving emails, actually hands-on managing these emails and then adding attachments, all that kind of stuff. If you have any questions, please use the toolbar on the right-hand side, and we'll be picking those up at the end. So with that, I'm just going to toggle across to... with that, I'm going to jump over here to the Unity portal. Okay. So as I've mentioned, what I've got here is I've logged in as a customer. So this is a customer admin that you can create. They're logging into the Unity portal. All the branding and everything is your own. So that's all the service provider branding. In this example here, I've already got a few queues set up. I've used the word queues and media streams sort of almost interchangeably. I should explain the difference between those in this hierarchy we have. The queues have media streams underneath them. So the queue itself is a sales queue, a support queue, an engineering queue. The media streams is actually what takes the omni-channel conversations. So for example, I can have a sales queue, and then within that queue, I could have a number of different media streams, maybe Twitter. I've got sales at customer.com, some web chat, stuff like that. And I can group those that way. So there's a lot of flexibility about it. I just wanted to say that we can tailor it for what the customer wants. If they want to split their business for different products or for sales and support or whatever the case may be, there's the flexibility is there. Okay, and this also ties up with the reporting, which we're going to look at. So you can report on, if you don't want to report on a media stream itself, you can do that. So I can report on the sales email I'm going to create, but I could also report on the sales queue as a whole. So I can see all those conversations. So that's the relevance of queues versus media streams. What I would say about this portal is that, as I mentioned, the customer has the capability to do everything that your support teams are going to have. So there's no limits there. The only thing they can't do is add licenses because, of course, that's a billing event for you. So I'm going to jump in here and set this up. The only thing I've done effectively in this 2-minute demo, the only thing I've done, the extra step would be to assign the licenses. Okay. So there's one thing, an assumption has been made that you guys in your provisioning have assigned some Unity Contact Center licenses to this customer. Now I can go in and build it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new queue. I could add this new email media stream within one of the existing queues, but I'm not. I'm going to build a new one. And let's say this customer is called Dynamic Limited. Dynamic, I'm going to make a queue called Dynamic Sales. Actually, that's going to be down the wrong place. So the identifier here, I'm just going to use something unique, which is hopefully... one thing to say here is that, as you can see here, this text, if the identifier is a BroadWorks call center instance ID, then what that means, and of course this is not a BroadWorks call center instance ID, but if it was, it means that when I just toggle across here to my Unity, so this is my Unity agent I'm going to be using for this demo, if it was an instance ID, then what I can do is I can put the email queues, the email stats, and also if I created a tweet media stream and also a web chat email media stream, if I created those within this queue I've just made, I can see all the stats in one place, okay? So it's not though, so what I'm going to do, it's going to be standalone, so it's going to be email only, okay? Right, language default, agents can leave the queue, yes. The agents can be transferred, yep, we can do that. The supervisor is not actually, the contact center supervisor is not complete yet, so we're just going to leave these for the moment. Time zone, I have to set that, so let's just make that London time where we are. And let's just add the queue, Dynamic Sales. Let me just make that Dynamic 2, add queue. The reason that I just had to change that is just because we were doing a test run earlier, and the identifier is unique. So here we go. So I've got Dynamic Sales. Okay, right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a media stream. So I'm going to jump in, I'm going to go Add Media Stream, and here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it Sales Email. Okay, it's going to be a web. It's going to be an IMAP mailbox here, so that's where I'm selecting my what type of media stream I've got. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to turn on last agent routing, so that does what it says on the label. Basically, it routes it to the last agent if the last agent is available and online. I'm going to put in now. So this is where I have the IMAP credentials. So firstly, it's the email address. There it is, Unity Webinar. Now I'm going to choose which IMAP platform it is. This is Outlook. Outlook Live this is. The password. Okay, and that's pretty much everything I need to put in. So what's going to happen now, there's a few more things. I'm not going to worry about them just at the moment. I want to get this set up and show you guys how quickly this is to make this live. So if I go Add Media Stream, Okay, so there we've added our media stream. The only other thing we need to do now is we need to choose which agents are going to get these emails when they come in. So let's just go in here. We call these routing phases. Firstly, what it's saying to me is I already have some other media streams set up. So it's basically saying to me, hey, do you want to copy the behavior you've got from another one? So imagine if you're setting up a whole lot of media streams, then this obviously saves you a lot of time. I'm going to ignore this. Let's just start one up from scratch. So firstly, the name of the phase. I'm just going to call it phase 1. This is custom. This doesn't have to be anything. There's no particular naming convention. But for example, if you had a contact center where they had a lot of remote workers for peak times at night, if you're in retail travel, you could potentially call phase 1 could be office-based agents, and then of course you could overflow it to home-based agents, or you could overflow it to everybody, whatever you want to call it. So that can be anything you want. I'm just going to call it number 1. Routing. This is the same routing algorithm that you would have seen with your BroadSoft ACD, and also if you've seen any of the other Unity Contact Center videos, it's the same. Basically longicidal, circular, or simultaneous. We're going to put it on simultaneous, so it's going to ring everybody at once for 200 seconds. We're going to have a bounce duration because I've turned on last. Of course, normally with simultaneous routing profile, you wouldn't have a bounce duration. But we're going to put on 5 seconds, and the reason we have to is because we had last agent routing turned on. Okay, so these are all of the BroadSoft users. Okay, BroadSoft users that are in the group that have the Unity Contact Center agent license assigned to them. So let's just put this guy Steve, and let's just add the phase. That's it. We're done. So after 200 seconds, what happens to it? Well, at the moment, nothing. I'll explain. If it was a web chat, after 200 seconds, it would be abandoned. At the moment, I could add another phase in, so I could add phase, and I could have more people into it. But with emails, if it's not picked up, an email is never abandoned, or a tweet for that matter with our platform is never abandoned. It's going to sit there until it's picked up. But at the moment, for the initial 200 seconds, this is how it's going to work. What I'm going to do now is go back to my Unity. As you can see here, I've got a call up to this bridge, and I'm going to restart. It's saying to me I'm currently connected to a flexible seating host. Do I want to remove it? No, because that would hang up the call. So it's going to restart. So one of the things you'll notice straight away is that there's no tooling on the Unity client required. Okay, so it's not like the BroadSoft ACD where you need a separate password. What's going to happen here is we're connecting back up. We're pulling down the profile and everything else. You can see straight away that there's a new queue here, Dynamic Sales. Okay, I'm going to right-click this queue and I'm going to join it. Because I have not married it up to a BroadSoft ACD instance, there's no ACD stats. There's a dash where calls would be. But that's it. So what I'm going to do, make sure I'm in available ACD state. Now I'm going to go and quickly, Unity Webinar was the address. Hi there. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. And I can also put an attachment in as well. So let me just put in PDF. Okay, we also support BC and CC as well. I'm not going to do that just for the minute. So let's just send it in and see if it works. So this is the moment of truth. So this is me sending it into, this is my new company, Dynamic Sales. Here we go. So again, so this is the agent experience. We've got a call up. We're all used to seeing that. Most people on this call are existing Unity providers. We've got a call up. We get a web chat. We get an email. And what's going to happen is it's just going to pop in any moment now. The Unity Contact Center is it's routing any unread emails. Okay, so as long as it's not been read by some other party, it's going to deliver it here. So a couple of things have happened. Firstly, I've had an email come in. We can set this so that you only get emails, or you only get web chats, or you get 2 of each, or you don't get anything when you're on the phone. There's a lot of sort of granularity because, of course, it depends on the kind of conversations people are having, the customer business that is. So whatever your customers want, there's a lot of flexibility there. This is saying it's from John Daniels, despite the fact that I sent it from my own email account. And the reason for that is as you'll see, it's done a Salesforce dip. So ordinarily, if I'd sent an email into this Dynamic Sales, then it would pick up my name and it would say it was coming from Steve Tutt. What it's done in this case is it's done a Salesforce dip and it's looked up the email address and seen that it's John Daniels. That's because I've got John Daniels as my test customer in Salesforce. You're going to see more of John Daniels in a moment. So it's done a Salesforce lookup, and that would say it's a Salesforce contact, or also if it was a lead in Salesforce, that would be flagged. And then this is where we built the customer before. So this is dynamic sales. That's the name of the queue. And then, of course, it's sales email. So, again, just to recap what I was saying about the relationship between queues and media streams, I could have a number of media streams, so sales email, widgets email, bolts email, whatever the case may be, or tweets. And then, of course, I could have different queues for different parts of the business or departments. So that's how that works. It's unreserved. So in other words, it's alerting on everybody's phone because we set it up to simultaneous profile. And what I'm going to do is pick it up. So I'm going to double click, just click that there. Now reserve it. Okay, so that's me. I've answered it. Okay, so now I can reply back. Say hi. So this is so what we're seeing here. This is where the agent can reply to the emails. You'll see there that we've got basically an editor here, so you can, it's just like a note basically. And what we can do is I can add attachments back, which I can add an attachment of picture of Iceland. Let's do that. And what I can also do is we looked at the Salesforce integration just a moment ago. So what we're doing, if the customer wants to, we can journal everything into Salesforce against the contact, which is John Daniels in this case. What I can also do, without having to go into the CRM, is I can edit this entry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say add CRM log entry. So by default, it's going to say email conversation with Steve Tutt, i.e. Steve Tutt is the agent. So what I'm going to say, calling about ABC promo. Okay? And then I'm going to close the call log entry. What that means is it's going to become a history event against the contact in Salesforce rather than open event. Let's do that. Okay, send email. Boom. So that's going to go. So that's cleared it down. As an agent, I'm now available for all media again. Okay, so everything else is going to come in. What I'm going to do now, just before I look at the CRM, I'm just going to go back and show you a couple of other things we can change around. If I go back into this media stream here, I'm not going to touch on a lot of these things, but when we first set this up, we can also add in, see I've got email signatures. So what I can do is I can put in a default signature. So this is our company, Dynamic. So if I just put the signature in here. Okay, so that's my Dynamic sales company. And what I can also do, let me update that. And what I can also do is, I'm not going to change this around, but you can also see the in-office profile. So we support a number of different office profiles. But if I did put it onto standard hours, it was always online. So in other words, there was no specific time profiles. If I put this into, we're calling it standard hours, but of course you could set this up for office hours. At the contact center level here, you build all these time profiles. You build holiday profiles. So if you're closed on Christmas Day, what's the behavior? But if I just change this to standard hours, you'll see straight away here that this has actually changed. I've got an initial reply within business hours, and now I've got a reply outside business hours. So I'm sure we're all familiar with seeing that when we email a support team. If we email outside business hours, they say, we'll get back to you on Monday, or whatever the case may be. So let's just go here with a signature. I've already updated it, so let me just go back and make that always online and just make sure that's all going to work okay. So let me show you how that works. Now I'm going to restart Unity again. So I think what I'm trying to illustrate here, no, I don't want to hang up the flexible seating. What I'm trying to show that this is really simple to get to grips with. You can spin this up literally immediately. Okay, we've seen how quick this is. So what I'm going to do is send another email in. So just give me one moment here. I'm going to push one in. Unity webinar. Test 2. Happy days. Right, let's send that in. And then what's happening back here, the only difference here we're going to see is that we're going to see the email signature. And then what I'm going to do is, so John Daniels, he's come back to us again. And then now, I'm going to reserve it. See, there we are, dynamic communications. So you can have that signature so that, again, so it's just a professional business communications. Okay. So I'm just going to send that one quick and send that email. Now what I want to do is go and look at John Daniels. So I'm going to bring him up in Salesforce, this guy. Show CRM contact, and let's just see that calling about ABC promo. Let me show you how that looks. See, everything is logged here: calls, web chats, everything. At the moment, these are the two that we've just taken. They're both showing as web chat. That will actually say email. It's just a limitation really of the Salesforce API. There's a new Salesforce API that we're moving to, so that will say email. But for the moment, it just says web chat. Okay, so the one I just took was that test one with the signature. If I open this one, I think this one, because it's a history item, because I closed the CRM log. So if I open this one here, in a perfect world, this should be ABC promo. No, it's not. Okay, I think it's because it'll be this one, because the other one, I didn't close it, and I think the default is I saved it as an open item. Calling about APC promo. See, it works. There we go. So that's pushed all that in, and so that's where the agent can edit that note for the CRM for whatever is relevant for their business. And if I click in here to this transcript, what I'm going to have is, of course, the date and timestamp, all that kind of stuff, the conversation, as you can see, the whole thing's mapped out. This is this here was the PDF that the remote party sent in to me as the agent, so I can open that up. And it was a PDF, so that's fine. And then what I can also see is if I go back to that link again, wherever it is, what I can also see is this picture of Iceland. This is, of course, what the agent attached. So you're seeing all attachments in there. Okay, that's great. So I think the purpose of all of that was to show you how quick it is to set up. What I will touch on, and not in any great detail, I think it's a subject for another webinar, but the fact that we can do all the reporting. So what I'm going to do very quickly is I'll just show you, if I roll this back a little bit, I'm going to show you some of the reporting we've got now. We've broken it down into a couple of different areas. Headline numbers, what's the performance, how many conversations have you taken, how many have you answered, how many have abandoned, etc., what's your average answer time. For queues and media streams, again, this comes into the logic of building them the right way for the customer, but also summaries, so I can drill into it, and I can see also what conversations the agent's taken. So let me have a look at that now. If I have a look at, I want to list all my agents, and I want to see what they've done, how many conversations they've done, and this is going to break it down by agent. If I do it by media stream, it'll show me each media stream and show me the agents within the media stream. So it's This one's going to be an agent-centric report, and there we go. So it's going to show, again, by agent. So Unity Connect email, so this guy's not taken a lot of emails. He's done 20 web chats. He's not done a lot. And, moving down. As you can see, it's breaking it down by the agent. The last report I think I'm going to show you just quickly is where you can drill in to the conversation. So the same as we saw those transcripts just now in the CRM. So in Salesforce, in this example, we support Microsoft Dynamics, Sugar CRM, Zendesk, because I have a few others. It's on our website. But also, if I go and look at let me have a look at this conversation summary by media stream. So let me do that. Let me run that. This is going to show all my media streams. It actually might have been clever if I'd just done it for the email that we've just set up. Might have been a better idea. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click into one of these. So this works the same for the web chats and the emails and all that kind of stuff. What I can do is I can drill in here. So this is a Gmail test account, but the behavior is exactly the same. As you can see, it's letting me dive into a transcript with all the date and timestamps, the conversations, who said what, and what the content, what the links are. In this example here, there we are. We're just opening up the Word document that was sent. Okay, I think that really, if I go back to the, the conversation summary, so this is going to show all my media streams. So let me have a look at this conversation summary by media stream. So let me do that. I think that really was there was a bit of padding in that, but that really was the point of today's call, was to just to show you that we've got a solution that you absolutely can deploy really easily, and it's certainly something you can put in your own business if you want to get to grips with how this works for your customers. If there's any questions, please give them to us on the right-hand side. Can I view old email transcripts from within Unity? Absolutely. So you can. So there's two answers to that. One of them is the what I just showed you, using the conversation summary report. And the other way you can do it is if you go into activity logs. So this is call logs as you've used to seeing them. But I've also got conversations. So this is going to show me the last 30. So this one here from John Daniels, I believe this is the one that was the ABC test promo. And this guy here. Okay. So that's going to show me the last 30 in there. Everybody, appreciate your time. If there's anything else you want to pick up, please reach out to us offline and we can set you up with some demos or whatever help you need. Thanks for attending. Bye-bye.